Alright everyone, Diablo 2 Resurrected is out. This is Blizzard Entertainment's first major release since, well, everything went down with Blizzard Entertainment. Though of course this isn't really a project done by Blizzard Entertainment, it's done by Vicarious Visions, the same people who did the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remaster, who, up until very recently, were not a part of Blizzard. They were a support studio of Activision Publishing, but of course they've now been absorbed into the Blizzard fold, where they're doing some work. So today we've got a few things. First, a quick little review roundup to see where the state of Diablo 2 Resurrected is, and then also a little bit of history repeating itself, which is very, very funny given what is happening, but of course quite frustrating for many of the game's players. As for the reviews, essentially they are unanimously positive overall, in that this is a pretty masterful and faithful bringing forward of Diablo 2 into the modern age, while still very much having Diablo 2 be Diablo 2. The art style looks like Diablo 2. They've not messed it up, basically. That's a lot of what we had already expected from a lot of the preview content, such as skill ups that was based on the alpha. Yeah, basically, if you liked Diablo 2 back then, or if you want to play a Diablo that's not Diablo 3 and actually see what 2 was, then this is absolutely fantastic. And I would want to specifically call out to you that they've done pretty great work on the controller options, which a lot of people are saying are quite fun in terms of just what they do for the control scheme and the general playability of the game. So that's a lot of what is going on. However, not always completely perfect.
Of course not.
While the broad take is that essentially this is all really quite excellent, the game in a few ways is not complete. So we should cover that. First of all, there is no ladder, and there will not be ladder until an undisclosed time. And based on what Rod Ferguson said, they want to make sure that the game is stable. Fair enough, but in a way it is, I mean, technically incomplete in that the ladder feature is not there. So to some people this will feel like more of a soft launch than, you know, a full proper launch, which of course is unfortunate, but for a lot of people I think they just want to go and play Diablo 2, and you can do that very well with this. And another odd thing is that the console version lacks lobbies and chat. So there's zero communications other than the party chat that is provided by the actual console, not in-game lobby chat. So that's essentially what's missing there. Dexterdo did come up with a few bugs.
Yes. That's one thing that I find interesting, because when Rod talks about wanting this game to be stable and ready for ladder, he did say at another point that there'll be no new features until it's stable, which means that, you know, they're focusing, they clearly know they have bugs to sort out, because like Dexterdo, like the headline of it does say, gruesome glory ruined by gnarled gameplay, which, you know, nice wordplay, etc., etc. But their point is that to quote them, there are a slew of irritating bugs that are likely to be fixed soon. As patches drop over time, we hope this sorts itself out, but at the moment they can be so game-breaking that they make you want to do diabolical things to your computer, which, you know, very nicely written, etc. But the point is, bugs. I mean,
yeah, I haven't
it's
heard
modern
of
game
as
launch.
much of that from like a few of the other sort of reviews and sentiment, but that's, I mean, yeah, not good.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously the sort of two ways to look at that is, one, it's not that common, those bugs. They sort of maybe had a bad run-in with it. Or maybe, you know, the obvious thing of works on my machine. Maybe something was a little bit wrong with their game or something, you know. Or the other side is maybe they played it a lot more than a lot of other people encounter more bugs away. That's a possibility, just to kind of cover both sides of it.
Yeah,
but
it's also like in review style, there is, you know, top level, looking at the entire thing, what is this? And people basically like, this is a very faithful recreation. This really is Diablo 2, and we're very happy about that. Versus when you get into some of the weeds and you maybe find a few more of the issues.
Yeah, so it's like that. One of the things that I think with Diablo 2 Resurrected, more than any other remaster for the past while, the question has to be, why bother? And I think there's a little bit of that comes now, where it, you know, the game launches with no ladder, so why not just play, you know, the old game in a sense? It's not ready yet, so this is all just one big, you know, soft launch, which as we'll get into, you can kind of understand why this is the case, but it certainly feels bad for, you know, a big launch and everyone going, oh, let's go. Oh, wait, we don't really have anywhere to go, which is, to be fair, only for the people who want to play really, really hardcore on ladder. But for most people, it's more likely fine. or at least it would be if not for
that's basically it. This is, I think, a perfectly great release for most of the people who just want to hop in and do Diablo. But for the people who are doing ladder and are way, way, way more engaged in that side of ARPGs, they're obviously going to be like, well, okay, some of the things we want aren't exactly here.
Yep.
Now, that said, they have had a funny happen.
Of course.
And this is something that's been very frustrating for people. We all remember Error 37, don't we? With Diablo 3. Well, an issue has occurred while communicating with the game servers. Please check that you are connected to the internet and try again. Connectivity issues are back. It is very funny seeing the BNet support articles for both Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Resurrected for their connection problems. Now, this ended up being quite whack because there was day one issues with the servers getting pounded. Blizzard ended up having to do some unscheduled maintenance, taking them offline for a bit to sort things out, which seems like it made an improvement for some, maybe not for others, because there are still loads of complaints of of server problems. And of course, there's no TCP/IP connectivity, so you're kind of relying on their servers.
Yeah,
you can't just do it directly.
Yeah, it's that thing that people always kind of get into where, obviously as a consumer you should expect this. This happened for every major game. To be pragmatic and realistic, just expect it. But at the same time, they're selling you a product saying it's ready now. This is when the game will be ready to play. And at no point in any of their marketing they say, you may need to wait a week for server issues to sort out. They never say that. They always go, it'll be fine. We promise it'll all be good. And it never is, which is maybe part of a larger conversation at some point in time. But as far as it goes here, it's like they removed that connectivity and now people are having a bad time. And it's like, sure, maybe you're just justified in the security reasons that you've removed it. But at the same time, again, why people could go play Diablo 2 2000 now online with each other, no problems, but they can't play the remastered version.
Yeah, so that's, just funny to have happen, especially for Diablo, where it happened with Diablo 3. Now, what this has meant for some people is character creation has not been a thing. Rollbacks, people losing progress. Now, what's interesting there is we can get into that in a little bit because it doesn't seem like there's supposed to be any progress lost, but there are still some people tweeting about it, so we're not 100% sure on what's going on there. Now, Rod said, while we're digging into the online issue, could I perhaps interest you in some offline play? Now, this is a bit of a funny tweet that is, of course, referencing Error 37, because Error 37 just meant you couldn't play Diablo 3 because you needed to be online to play it in single player, and we all had that fun experience of playing D3 in and around launch, getting lag in a single player game, and that felt very silly. So it's great that you can go and do some offline play. However, for a lot of people, they want to play with their friends. So for them, it's obviously not going to be ideal, but absolutely, this is a great example of definitely do an offline mode.
Yes.
Because imagine how much less bad Error 37 would have been if there was an offline mode in Diablo 3. And then you maybe think, well, did this have anything to do with how they were running the auction house or any of those other parts, of how D3 was actually constructed. So that's a good thing about D2, that the servers can go and get completely screwy, but you can still play in offline.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we've been having the same conversation as gamers for like 15 years. No, maybe not 15, but like at least 12, 13, 14 years now, where it's just, please put an offline mode in. Because I think the same happened to a couple of other ARPGs that come to mind, like Torchlight 3 was destroyed a little bit early on. It did eventually happen offline, I believe, but what was the other one? There's another game that basically, another RPG, was it Wolcen maybe? But whatever it was, it had awful server problems.
It was Wolcen.
And you're like, just put an offline mode in. You can do what you want in terms of limited, because obviously the thing here is that it's a real problem for people who want to play cross-play. I guess cross-save Diablo, because it's out on consoles, it's out on PC, it's out on, etc. So you if you want to play on console and also PC, you have to play online, because that's how cross-save functions.
Yeah.
You can't just, copy over your save file or anything like that. So that's the sort of thing. But I think, ultimately it's a complete neck gain to have an offline mode. So just do it. And, they did. So
yeah. So in terms of follow-up, Rod and the team have actually been doing a fantastic job of communicating with the players, and this is what we want to see. Adam Fletcher saying they're looking into the issue of characters not appearing. Rod saying that they've had tons of players online, which is great, but it's been a challenge for the servers that has surpassed the testing. Now, I assume that is referring to the various different, like, the public tests that they did for this game, and it's interesting that that's a public test of the game for free. Well, the actual paid product seems to be vastly getting more people in, so perhaps that's some sort of early indicator that a lot of people are jumping into this game.
Sure.
So yeah, he said that they know many people are still affected, they're adding more capacity, and they'll keep on doing that until things are in a better place, and that may mean more server resets, restarts, and he's talking about more of them and just generally keeping the community abreast of what's going on.
Yep, that is not something I think we've come to expect from larger companies a lot of the time. I think a lot of them are getting better at it, but the fact that the EP of the Diablo franchise is on Twitter when this is happening going, he's not, I mean, he likely is running about trying to solve problems, but they're not all squirreled away like, shit, we'll solve problems and not speak. They're going, oh, hey, okay, this is a community thing. Hello, everyone. This is what's happening. This is why it's happening. This is what we're doing to solve it, which, it's just... It's just a thing where you have to commend it when it happens.
Exactly.
Like, replying to people on Twitter is, it should be part of your job, and it is, and he's doing it, so great.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing that actually makes the community feel like they're being listened to.
Yeah.
And that, like, it's just rarely the thing that even we don't really get this sort of thing over in Warcraft land as much.
No.
So this is great. This is great. Hopefully they get their problem solved soon. And certainly, it's it's a good thing that I'm not playing this on launch. Likely, this always would have been some form of game to play at Christmas when I have the free time.
Of course.
So I think it's just another example of maybe launch day for a game that's got a bit of online in it. It's not exactly the best. But it does actually seem that the quality of the remaster itself is what you expect from Vicarious Visions, where it has been brought up and modernized, where they have not lost the soul of the game. I think that's exactly what people want.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's a resounding success. I think overall, it is obviously, repeating some of the mistakes of the past with online server issues, but what game hasn't sort of done that?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to draw a line of, do we, drag them over the coals for this, or do we not? Whatever. But it's that case where, at least the game's good. It could have been reforged. Instead, it's resurrected.
Yep, and that is... That sadly is the difference between Blizzard Entertainment completely mismanaging a project and Vicarious Visions doing the project themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. Imagine, fellow Warcraft people, if Vicarious Visions did Warcraft 3 Reforged. Imagine if we got a Warcraft 3 Reforged that was as good as, say, the Toys for Bob Spyro Remaster.
Oh, God, yeah.
Could you imagine?
I genuinely can't.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose that's what happens when Blizzard can't manage its way out of a paper bag. So overall, this does seem to be a thing of hopefully these fixes are made soon. Congratulations to Vicarious Visions for launching what overall does seem to be a stellar game. Hopefully those missing features get it back in soon with stability. I think I'll be playing this one over Christmas when I've got the time, because when it comes to ARPGs, I am not exactly a person who cares about ladder or hardcore or anything like that. I kind of just enjoy dabbling them and going through them and having a bit of fun. So, there you go. That's it for the video. That's what's going on with Diablo 2 Resurrected. Thankfully, no humongous, big, explosive drama. This is, a bit of a launch quibble, but overall, some pretty good stuff for the players.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See you next time.